crown molding, giant wicker ducks, fast fashion. These are a few of my unfavorite things. See, as a consummate introvert, I regard Jasmin Morgan and Danielle Dixon's penchant for worlds of interior decorating and jewelry and fashion as not only confusing, but inherently inferior. And in my quest to show them how inferior they are, I spent time peeling back the onion a bit. And I just can't tell you how disappointed I was, because I was not correct. These people knew more than I did. They showed me the poetry of the Lazy Susan, the philosophy of monochrome shoes, the importance of matching dresses and appropriately sized pants. We talked a lot about clothes and what's underneath those clothes. I mean, I don't mean that. What I do mean is that we get into some body dysmorphia and persona issues. How the way we look changes our level of power when we walk into a room. Danielle discusses how her focus on fashion stems partially from a self-esteem issue. And a few other things. There's also a very small dog present because, well, of course, right? His name is Ollie and Jasmin is his mom. Misty Lou is also a very small dog and belongs to Danielle and is not present, but I felt deserved honorable mention. Also, Jasmin will make reference to Andy, her boyfriend, who is not present and is also not a very small dog. Lastly, wait out the outro at the end of the show for some bonus content and a little-known secret about Trader Joe's that only an extrovert would know about. Thank you for listening. My name is Benjamin Russack, licensed marriage and family therapist, and this is my podcast, Look, Just Tell Me What to Do. Jasmin, what do you do for work?
I have a organization and interior design business called Adroit Interiors. I make people's homes beautiful and functional. And businesses.
Why would anyone hire someone like you to rearrange their stuff? I don't get it.
Because your home is your sanctuary, and it has a lot of impact on the way you feel in your space, and people need help making it nice.
Okay. And do you think you help people?
I really help people.
Yeah,
that's not even
what's
on
the person
question.
Do you think you saved someone's life? Do you think you what's the most help you've ever helped?
People do think that sometimes I'm their therapist and they overshare, and I'm like, whoa, okay. But but no, I mean,
speak into the mic, please.
Sorry, I'm just trying to see you, and it's really hard.
I don't give a fuck.
It's really hard to look at a
You don't
microphone.
want to see me anyway. When you organize a client's home, how do you feel?
I feel very satisfied.
I guess my question is, when you clean out someone else's stuff, do you feel like you're cleaning yourself out?
No.
Okay.
No, but it brings me joy to make things beautiful. I find a lot of beauty in things being functional.
What are some of your favorite things to put in people's homes?
I love Lazy Susans.
Why do you love them?
I just find them to be wonderful. They make things so much easier to see, especially if you're in a cabinet, you can easily look at all of your spices or look at all of your condiments without having to pull everything out of your cabinet.
All right, that's a nice thing. What else do you like?
Baskets.
Baskets.
Yeah.
I fucking hate baskets.
I really love baskets.
They're so boring.
Because it makes everything really tidy and beautiful, and it's a category. And so if you're like, oh, I need some hand lotion, and then you go to your basket that has all of your hand
but what if you
lotion
don't know
in
which
it,
fucking basket to go to?
Have really super soft moisturized hands.
Your designer, your house designer put a million baskets in your house and you don't know.
But I am an organizer and an interior design, so they're all functional baskets.
I had a friend.
They're not superfluous
I had
baskets.
A friend years ago, which was a miracle all by itself. But her mom was one of those people who would compulsively buy shit. I remember going over to her house, and her mom had bought this huge wicker duck. It was this duck. It was 2 or 3 feet high, made of a wicker chair stuff, and it was, I think, painted either white or gold, and it probably cost $1,000 or something like that. Are you one of those people? Do you buy things like that for your clients? Do you put giant wicker ducks in their living room?
Because that's not functional. It has to be beautiful and functional.
What are the kinds of things you remove from people's homes?
Junk.
Okay, what's junk? Because to me, it's all junk. The things you all listed, Lazy Susans, baskets, all that shit's junk. So what do you mean?
No, those things help you better appreciate what you already have.
Give me examples. What's on your books?
Speaking of, you have a lot of books.
Yeah, I got a lot of books.
And it's
you're a book hoarder.
I have one shelf of books.
Wait,
I'm in
at
a
least
fucking therapy office.
4.
I have a master's degree in creative writing. I have books. Yes.
I also find a lot of joy in
stuff.
in finding the best way to deal with all of the stuff. Books, for instance, you can donate to the Friends of the Public Library System, and they use the profits from selling your books on Amazon to support the library, which I really like.
Awesome.
I also really like to go and take e-waste and styrofoam to Recology, because you get to drive through the big empty warehouse and they look at you because you're like this like little girl and you're like all dressed in your like little outfit, and then you like drop off all this e-waste and you're like, yay, the environment. And oh my god, this one time. Oh, this is a good story. Okay, this is a good story. So I went into the warehouse at Recology because I was dumping off some e-waste, and this woman had
what's e-waste?
E-waste, all those random cords that you don't know what they actually go to anymore, or they were like converting some sort of old USB to a new USB, because Apple likes to change their USBs all the time and their power adapters. But so I was taking some e-waste, and a client had asked me what you do with styrofoam when you get a big package and you have all this like styrofoam and you can't put it in your recycling bin. So you could put it in your trash bin, but it's just going to end up in the landfill. So
Okay, so what's the story?
I'm getting there. Ben, don't fuck with me.
Ben.
So I went in there and I was taking the styrofoam out, and this guy like hails me down, and I thought he was going to like yell at me for putting the styrofoam in the wrong place or something, right? But he shows me the machines that grind all of the styrofoam and make them into these really huge blocks, and then they take these blocks and they make crown molding.
What?
That's like really easy
What's
to
crown
install.
molding?
It's like the pretty decorative part at the top of the
More useless shit.
your ceiling, where your ceiling meets your wall. And you know, back in the day, it was, especially in Victorian homes, it was all done beautifully with wood, and that's gotten a little bit too expensive. So now they're taking styrofoam and they're making crown molding. They make picture frames, and this guy pulled me over and specifically relayed this information about how great it was that I was dropping the styrofoam off that they could make all of these fun things. And I just thought that was really cool information.
Wow.
Share it with your fans.
See, look at the look on Danielle's face and look at the look on my face. Like, I don't give a shit about crown molding or the fact
you
that
just don't really care about anything.
I don't care about
You don't really like us.
You don't really like us very much.
Yeah, of course, I don't like you. No,
He's like, can you leave?
I just think it's funny that like I just don't.
Party's over.
That is so cool. I mean, well, okay, think about this. Freaking, you get something in the mail and it has all those stupid like styrofoam bubbly things.
Yeah.
The
popcorn
things.
Oh, so annoying.
So annoying.
Yeah.
And what are you going to do with that? That's incredible that can turn into a picture frame.
Yeah.
What? That's so cool.
Well, none of it should exist in the first place. In my
Transformers.
Like, I don't think anything should exist really, except books.
Except books?
Yeah, books are the only books, and maybe a couch or two.
Well,
okay.
All I'm saying is I'm advocating, if I'm gonna make people get rid of stuff, I want it to find someplace else to go besides a landfill.
Do you know the next step after they make the styrofoam blocks? Like, who do they give that to? Where does it go next? Do you know?
That's a great question. I feel like they probably sell it to these
China.
different manufacturers.
We should go on a field trip
China
next time and find out. Go
let's
ask
do
that
it.
guy.
Let's take the
on
microphone.
Just tell me what to do.
Next time.
Field trip to Recology down in Brisbane.
Styrofoam.
Be there or be square like the styrofoam blocks.
Yeah. Cubes.
You know, they do this thing where
make a podcast?
I think they take like Coke cans and they put trash in them and make buildings out of them.
No, but Emeco, which makes the Navy chair, is pretty close to the Coca-Cola factory.
Okay.
And they were trying to figure out how to be more sustainable in dealing with all of these plastic Coke bottles that they were doing. And so Emeco started making Navy chairs out of the recycled plastic, and they make it in Coca-Cola.
Okay, I have a question. Is it a thing with young, saying in a non-creepy way, young, attractive women and recycling and e-waste and shit? Like, is that a thing? Like, what's going on?
Doesn't it make you feel bad that it's just sitting in the garbage?
It does. It does a little, but you guys really seem to have like your cockles of your heart are sort of involved with it. Like, it really.
Danielle spoke about report cards, and my mom sent me to this like weird hippie school in the mountains up in Santa Cruz when I was really young. And, you know, they did these like beautiful handwritten report cards telling you, oh, Jasmin was really good in Spanish. She learned how to count to 10, blah, blah, blah. And they said in one of my report cards, which I was rereading the other day because my mom had saved it, said Jasmin is very good at recycling.
What? It's amazing.
I was like 7.
That's hilarious.
So this is not a new skill. This is something that I have had And my school praised me for my recycling abilities
this
as a child.
Danielle, yes?
Sorry, no, go ahead. I just got an idea.
What's your idea?
With the love of stuff comes great responsibility.
Done.
So if you love stuff, you have to be aware of how that stuff impacts the environment.
I thought you were quoting Spider-Man for a second, but go on. I thought you were quoting Spider-Man.
No.
Okay.
I'm quoting my brain.
Okay.
I would feel like just a consumer kind of gross person if I didn't think about what makes me happy, how it impacts other people and impacts the planet.
Well, I'm glad to know I don't have much responsibility because I'm not a thing person.
You have other responsibility though, because you're a therapist.
Yeah. Do you know how often I shop for clothes?
Once a year. Twice a year? Once every 2 years.
Yeah.
Well, I hope you're making good buying decisions and buying well-manufactured pieces that can last you those 2 years.
Fashion waste.
And Danielle, what do you do?
So I have 2 jobs. One, I'm an entrepreneur. I have my own vintage jewelry company that my website just launched. It's called Rhome. It's an acronym.
For
R, H, and M are the names of women in my family. So my grandmother Ruth, my great-grandmother Helen, and my grandmother March. They are the ones who kind of taught me about jewelry and made me fall in love with jewelry and fashion. And then O is the circle of life of vintage. So it represents the circular economy and bringing new life to pieces from the past. And then E represents the environment and how wearing vintage, buying vintage is good for the environment. So Rhome Vintage is my vintage jewelry company. It's kind of in its baby stages, but we're slow and steady building that community, and it's very fun and exciting. It's a dream come true. And then my other very much full-time job that I'm really passionate about is at the RealReal. The RealReal is a luxury consignment company. I work with consigners who want to sell their items.
And vintage is important because it's kind of has a sense of history. Things are well made. What you said, it's more than 20 years old, and there might be a problem because the stuff that's being made now is crap. So in the year 2050, vintage is gonna...
I would think that in the year 2050, the items that are made in 2030 they're not going to fall into the same criteria as vintage now or vintage, 10 years ago.
So your fascination with clothes came about for a desire to feel accepted by others?
I think that originally it was a coping mechanism, yes.
Yeah.
But,
and why didn't you feel accepted when you were younger?
I've always been, I think, just kind of a little different and very excited about things. I think I'm loud. I had a teacher write in my report card in 3rd grade, I think Danielle's a little bit overly excited with the holidays. And that that has been a running joke in my family.
Bitch.
What?
Yeah.
This ADHD, get out the meds, man.
Exactly.
This kid needs to be sent away to wilderness school.
Jeez. So that's kind of been a running joke in my family is that, I'm just excitable and have a lot of thoughts and ideas and feelings. And I'm just kind of a very bulbous person. I'm just kind of big and take up space. And so, yeah, I think clothing, I was always very attracted to the creativity. I have a very creative mind. I'm definitely not organized. So that's why Jasmin and that's why we worked together and then became friends. The coping mechanism of wanting to feel accepted and loved, plus just my innate gravitation towards creativity and art blossomed into a love of fashion. And my parents are wonderful people, and I don't think that they quite understood my feelings. And so I learned that I could change to make other people happy. And that felt really good to me. I want to say I don't feel victimized in that way. I would say it allowed me to enjoy my experience more because it felt good.
Jasmin, do you use what you wear and how you dress to protect yourself? What's your relationship to clothing?
I definitely use my clothing to portray myself in a particular way, both when I'm working or socializing. I don't think that I am quite as expressive as Danielle is, but I really value and really love the things that I do choose to purchase, feeling like something is made. It's really important to me. And so that, as going back onto what Danielle was talking about vintage coming from a place of craftsmanship as opposed to this kind of mass produced clothing that's currently going on. That's why I really also love to take part in vintage fashion, things that I've found at my grandmother's house, because I can see that they've been well made, some of which have been well made by my grandmother.
Oh, really? Wow.
And so they've lasted a lot longer than things that I've bought a few
How do you
years
feel
ago.
when you put them on?
I feel fancy. you could really feel the time that someone spent in designing that and in crafting it. There's something that feels really special about when someone cares about how they're making something or the time that they're spending in crafting that.
Do you ever feel your mood shift when you put on a piece of your grandmother's clothing or something like that? Do you ever feel like you change in the moment?
Totally.
Tell me about that.
Well, in December, we went to the ballet. We went and saw the Nutcracker.
Mm-hmm.
And I had taken quite a bit of clothing from my grandmother's when we were going through her house the previous year. There was this red velvet dress that she had sewed. I don't know if it was for her or for one of my aunts, but I put this red dress on, and not only did I instantly feel more ladylike and more festive, but I felt like my family was there with me, and it made me feel very Christmassy.
Maybe loved?
Loved.
That's awesome. So Danielle, you and I share the same education. You have your master's in counseling psychology, and you spoke earlier about morphing as like a coping mechanism. So it sounds like she changed her mood, but you use clothing to
feel accepted. Honestly.
Yeah.
But I love it too. It's almost like it was originally a coping mechanism, but then it was a very lucky coping mechanism that I fell into because I love it. I can't say that it's just the coping mechanism to be accepted, because if fashion didn't exist, I don't know if I would want to be on this earth. Like it is such.
Can you talk about that a little bit? That's a really intense statement.
I don't know why I'm laughing.
Can I before you do that, I'm going to say a thing about me, my relationship to clothes. Yeah. So I guess we're talking about clothes. This is initially a podcast about things and stuff, but I guess we're talking about fucking clothes, and that's fine with me.
Cool.
Clothes it is. So clothes. So I was a fat guy.
Sorry, I don't know.
No, it's okay. I wore a size 50 pants. These are like 30s or 34s, and I was 50.
Amazing.
I was around 280 pounds or so, maybe more. So my relationship to clothes is a grim one. Yeah. Because I wear dark colors often because they were slimming, and I still wear dark colors. I don't like pants to be even a tiny bit tight because it reminds me of being a kid when pants would stop fitting and you'd feel like it was almost like putting baling wire around your waist. You know, it was an awful feeling, and people would tease you because they could see all the lumps, and it was no fun. Oh. So I hate clothes shopping. I just hate it. I am also actually really fascinated by fashion, even though my relationship to things is not great. I look at clothes. I open the New York Times and I look at their Fashion Week in Paris stuff. And like I saw this one was a woman going down the aisle with a broom, like a giant broom.
Yeah.
Like this couture stuff. It's just wild stuff.
It's art.
It's art. Yeah.
It's a combination of what is it, physical and performance
But
art?
what I'm saying is that like when I look at clothes on other people, I get a zing, like a bam, and it hits me on a lot of levels, and I don't really know what's going on because I haven't really examined it, but you have. So you can educate me a little bit about your relationship to clothing and what it does for you. And if you could, the way she was talking about her grandmother's item, if you could talk about specific items or specific outfits and just get into it a little bit. Sure.
Well, first of all, it makes perfect sense why you would have a different relationship to clothing when clothing has brought you sadness. And I'm sorry to hear that, but you look very healthy, and
thank you.
Happy for you that you've lost the weight and you look strong and yes, all the things. But I can understand why clothing would be kind of an enemy in that way. In terms of a piece so here, why don't I just talk, because I'm wearing clothing right now,
right?
And so why don't I talk about these shoes?
Okay.
So
what is that shoe?
I love these shoes.
Describe it.
This shoe it's a boot, and it is a tan color. It's monochromatic, which means that every single piece of the shoe is the same color or a similar shade. So the laces, the sole is also the same color as the neck of the shoe, I guess is what I would call it. The toe of the shoe, everything is the same color.
Okay.
These make me feel like I'm really cool. They make me feel they're just interesting and different enough to stand out, but accepted. I like to push the envelope, but not too much to where I feel uncomfortable. And that's what this shoe represents for me. So this shoe is very much like, I'm not doing what everyone else is doing. There's an edge to it, but it's not too far gone that it would alienate someone.
And for the record, she does look really cool.
She does.
Thank you.
Danielle does look cool.
These, and I get a lot of compliments on these, and I hesitate to tell you where they're from because I'm a recovering fast fashion addict. So I used to just really love to buy things for cheap amounts of money. Cheap, I don't like that word, but lower cost. And that was contributing not only to terrible waste, fashion waste, but also just clutter in my life and my home, and it made me feel really yucky.
Okay.
So about a year and a half or almost 2 years ago now, I quit fast fashion, and I
What is fast fashion?
What is fast fashion?
I don't know what that means.
Well,
it means like buy that now, like go buy something at Target.
It's items that are made to match current trends, but they're made like very quickly with really low quality materials.
And you can wear them a few times
and then they fall apart.
You
Give me
can
an example.
throw them in the garbage.
Like a hat or a...
Like Forever 21
Okay.
is a fast fashion company. A lot of the items that you would buy maybe on Amazon that are made really quickly, gosh, who knows who's making them. But I think with the invention of different machines and ways to make clothes and items more quickly for a lower cost, then fast fashion came about, because I think also it comes from a place of wanting everyone to feel like they can be part of a trend without having to spend the money on couture.
So what changed in your... It sounds like you kind of went Marie Kondo on
Sounds like you maybe... we're working with an organizer.
I was just going to say.
That's how you met Jasmin.
So Jasmin and I met because I was moving and I had hired someone to help me find a new place. And Jasmin, after I chose my new place, I hadn't moved for 12 years. And I just was very overwhelmed with moving and gathering up all my items. So I asked the woman who had helped me, and she referred me to Jasmin.
Was there a shift in your personality? Did something change in your life that you suddenly, I've got too much stuff. I've got to be more... consolidate.
There's a specific moment when this happened.
May I hear about it?
You totally can.
Awesome.
So it was during COVID. So it was kind of like things were reopening, but there were still a lot of restrictions on what you could do in public or where you could go. And I went to Zara on Post Street in San Francisco, where you could shop, but you couldn't try anything on. So the dressing rooms were closed to protect everyone. I started to go when they opened, and I would just buy a bunch of stuff and try it on at home because I couldn't try it on at the store. One day I came to Zara to do a return of 20 items that I had purchased. And it was, not only physically tiring, but emotionally, it just felt really, I don't know. It was like I had been so set on finding the perfect things and to make me feel a certain way and to be accepted in a certain way, but just outside the box a little bit, to be unique, just to be surrounded by all these things. And there were multiple items of the same thing. It just felt yucky. I don't know. Something within me I think also like it was painful to carry all those items.
Yeah.
So I returned them and I looked across the street, and there was the RealReal, which is a luxury consignment company that I now work for. But I didn't work for them at the time. I thought to myself, oh my gosh, I had no idea that they opened a brick and mortar store in my city. So I walked in and I spent probably 4 or 5 hours in there.
Really?
Yeah. All of these items were pre-loved, and they have criteria that they use.
Tell me what the RealReal does again.
So the RealReal is a luxury consignment company.
Okay.
So they basically help consigners consign their items. And a consignment is where there's a middle person who is selling the item for you, and then each party gets a percentage. So
okay. Got it.
The company.
So what did you see there?
Oh my gosh, what didn't I see?
Tell me about it.
Everything there had been pre-loved or, had been purchased from a store and not worn. So a lot of things would still have tags on it, things like that. I saw beautiful handbags that, are very hard to find, unique pieces from the 90s, like runway pieces from Chanel and
you really knew
Fendi.
What you were looking at. You understand all that stuff.
I didn't though, because I was so... I came from a family where we always wanted a deal. And so it always felt really good in the past to find trendy pieces for really low price.
And you just spent 4 or 5 hours in there? Did you? Yeah. And it was like a museum for you.
I was just going to say, literally, you just took the word out of my mouth. Yeah. Yes. Museum of fashion that you could purchase.
Wow.
Yeah.
And the sense that you could take it home with you must have been just overwhelming.
Yes. Well, and I just realized I don't need to buy all this fast fashion. What do you do with the fast fashion? There's no life for it after you own it.
And furthermore, most of these fast fashion trends are frankly like from the past. They're repeated from like the 70s or 80s or 90s or like 2000s. Like if people want to wear the stuff that I wore when I was 12, like that's cool. But
yeah, you can
can express that same creativity in using more well-made vintage fashion pieces rather than continuing to perpetuate this whole fast fashion type of thing. And as somebody that helps people get rid of stuff and helps people go through these closets of mass amounts of these pieces that they have also purchased inexpensively and are not very good quality. And yes, they should be going into the garbage, but like, how do we deal with that in a sustainable way? Especially like if I'm telling people like you don't need to have all of these things, how do we deal with the current situation that we're in based off of this trend of fast fashion? And how do we promote people to take that same creativity but to purchase vintage pieces that are also well made and can also express that same creativity and fashion?
And so this goes into the idea of depth and how like the fast fashion is sort of shallow. And it has no meaning and is in the actual category that I kind of live in, which is like, none of this means anything. Like when you see this, you see the history, you see the love, the acceptance, and there's probably a sense of agency too, because you can create yourself in those places a little bit. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think that having the freedom to wear what you want to wear every day, and you get to change that every 24 hours or...
Drop the mic a little bit.
Drop the mic.
Just pull it down like about, yeah.
There we go.
You're good.
Actually, sometimes I wear a couple different outfits a day, depending on what activities I'm doing. The fact that I can be artistic and create every single day is amazing to me. Like it brightens me up. It makes me feel alive. Yeah.
That's really neat.
Yeah.
I have a hard time like putting on a blazer or anything because I still have some pretty severe body dysmorphia. What do you say to people who have a real hard time with their self-perception? Maybe they don't like the color of their skin. Maybe they don't like the way their hair, whatever. Maybe they don't like the fact that their legs are too long or too short or whatever it is. I wonder if a lot of those people have the same problem I do. I have a problem with clothes and putting on clothes and trying clothes and quote unquote looking nice because I feel like I'm not nice looking. And the thing is that putting on clothes and trying new things makes me feel like I have to think about my body.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like I don't want to
look at it.
I have to look at it and I have to take things off and just feel just terrible about the whole thing. Right. Mm-hmm. And so as a result, I usually wear a lot of like really oversized clothes. Like these pants are way too big, you know, and because I'm hiding in it, you know. Mm-hmm. A, how do you deal with that? Or B, what would you tell people about fashion and that? I mean, Miss Master's degree.
Well, I get into that with my consigners, but I don't spend as much time with them as Jasmin does with her clients.
Your consigners? What does that mean?
So when I say my consigners, basically at the RealReal, I'm sort of in an account executive position. So basically I'm selling the service, but I'm also building relationships with the people who are handing over their items for us to sell on their behalf. But what has led me to some success in my role is being empathetic and understanding how items do impact someone's mood and really taking the time to understand where the person, how they feel about their items and how they connect to them, and then building that relationship with them. But
how does that relate to the body? I guess I'm just curious on your take on the relationship between clothes and what they cover up, you know, or what they hang upon, I suppose. Mm-hmm. I don't know. Like for me, a body is a thing to be covered up in my universe. It's a thing to be hidden. Mm-hmm. Whereas like when I see people, like especially when I see somebody who's, you know, by my standards, a little overweight and they're wearing tight clothes and they're kind of out there, I feel a sense of revulsion and admiration and jealousy. Mm-hmm. Because someone who's a little plus sized, there's sirens, who's a little plus sized and just doesn't give a shit and wears really awesome tight clothes, they don't look overweight. It's weird.
They're free.
Yeah.
And I mean, from what we can see, right? We have no idea what they're going
whatever, but I'm just like, this is amazing. You're amazing. Yeah. I want to be you.
Gosh, I mean, body image and clothing do go very, very close and they relate to each other. I think, unfortunately, I mean, we live in a very vision focused, like if I'm thinking about all the senses, like we live in a very sight focused time. The things that we can absorb with our sense of sight is important to us. especially with our phones and screens. And I mean, we're just using our eyeballs all the time and constantly receiving information through sight. I have dealt with my own body image issues. I think about talking to someone else about their concerns about their body. I mean, I don't know if I'm the best person to help them with that. I don't think I've done enough work on myself to eliminate that and feel very confident so that I can have an open container for someone else.
I had no idea you had body issues. That's fascinating.
Oh yeah. I was a competitive rhythmic gymnast for 9 years and did ballet and stuff. And there's a lot of body image stuff.
Well, they're brutal in that industry.
Brutal.
Like they'll just kick you out of their dance company if you're like a pound over.
They definitely will.
Yes.
It's really, really awful.
Yes.
Thank you for that.
Sure.
So Jasmine, Danielle indicated that you may have something to say on all this stuff, and I'm not sure why she
Sorry.
said that.
Well, I was listening to this segment on NPR, and this woman was really into trendy fashion. She described herself as being plus sized, and I obviously couldn't see her because this was the radio, but she would recreate outfits that she saw on celebrities that she liked. For instance, she saw an outfit that Hailey Bieber was wearing, and she was like, oh, I really loved this outfit, but I didn't know how to make it for someone of my size. And so she went and did the research, like recreated a bunch of these outfits and posted it on her Instagram. People really praised her because she felt really good wearing the things that she wore, even though she was recreating them into like a more plus sized way. And, you know, she was obviously like tagging where she was purchasing these items and making it so people felt they could be part of trendy celebrity style, regardless of their size.
Okay.
And I guess in this circumstance, Hailey Bieber wrote her back on Instagram and told her how great she looked. And, you know, it was very body empowering.
Body positive.
Body positive, body empowering.
I hate that term so much. I just can't stand it.
When you're helping someone organize and helping someone go through all of their items, a lot of times people are holding on to things because of the memories or associations that they have with these particular items. And they're like, oh, well, you know, like if I lose weight, I'm going to wear this item again because I really love it. My response back to that is always, if you lose all this weight, are you really going to want to go and put this item back on? Like, is it really worth you holding on to this space in your closet where you have to look at it, you have to feel all the feelings of looking at something that you cannot currently fit into? And if you do lose this weight, aren't you going to want to celebrate that? You know, purchase something else that like is new and you feel really good in it.
That was reminding me of some of the experiences I've had with my clients or consigners. I've had a lot of people say to me, oh yeah, I gained weight during COVID, and so this doesn't fit me anymore. I had a consignor who was telling me about her daughter who has been battling an eating disorder. And sadly, this is very common. And a teenage girl, and just breaks my heart. And she was talking about making sure that she was getting her the help that she needs. And she was talking to me about one professional that they were working with who didn't really have a lot of empathy and was just a little bit cold, I guess is how she was describing it. And then in the same breath, she would speak about her own body as her being fat.
Oh, Jesus.
And I had to really hold back and saying, you're not asking me for my recommendation, but do not say this around your daughter.
Yeah.
Like I'm not going to point the finger and blame you, but if your daughter sees you, hears you complaining about your own body, like it's not rocket science that she's going to complain about her body.
And chances are that her mom's been complaining about her own body her whole life.
For sure. And chances are her mom has had her own disordered eating or eating disorder. So I wished so badly I could hop into my therapist's shoes and be like, let's all sit down, have a conversation.
Have a conversation.
But that was hard.
That sounds really hard to sit there and like watch that.
Yeah.
It's the sickness being passed down from mother to daughter like
right.
that.
And when the mother so badly wants to help her daughter and just like can't see how she's contributing to this. Yeah. Luckily, I would say, and I don't know if this is because I've gotten older, and so I think one of the great things about aging is that you start to like yourself more, or you start to not care as much about what other people think. And that has been a blessing. I love that aspect of getting older. I don't know if this coincides with me getting older, but I also just see that term body positivity, people just embracing their bodies and kind of sharing it with the world. And so I think the beauty standards are shifting in that.
How do you think they're shifting?
I think it's a combination of what I'm seeing expressed in the media as well as me aging.
Okay.
So because I'm aging and starting to love myself more and seeing myself more as a full holistic human as opposed to just a woman who has a nice body and a face. But I see that as society, we are trying to get to a place where acceptance of different shapes and sizes is happening.
Jasmin, what's your relationship to beauty?
As I stuff my face with cheese.
Yeah.
Both of these people are very attractive humans.
Thanks.
I mean, I think that
it's hard to say that without sounding creepy, isn't it?
No, you don't sound creepy.
Okay.
people always have things that they dislike about their own bodies. And I'm a very small person. I'm very petite.
You are.
That can also lead to a lot of challenges when
you're fun sized.
I'm fun sized. Like when you go trick or treating, you get me. And and I probably taste like chocolate too because I eat so much of it.
Yeah.
And it's hard for me too. People are like, oh, but you're like so skinny, you're so small. And I'm like, yeah, but there's a lot of clothes that are made for tall, skinny girls, and I'm not tall. And so it's really hard when I go into a dressing room and I'm trying stuff on and nothing is like fitting me either because I'm more petite than what they are classifying as normal or average. So that can be challenging too. We can't all be Danielle.
No.
Oh, shut up.
So, I guess I have another question about
thank you. That's very sweet.
Power and privilege, I suppose. So when I was a fat guy, you were talking about acceptance earlier. I didn't, and I lost a bunch of weight.
May I ask you a question?
Yeah.
What made you lose the weight? What was the motivation?
I was tired of being fat and being treated like garbage.
Okay, so it was for acceptance.
1,000%.
Wow. Ugh. Sorry.
No, it's okay.
Huh.
You can react however you want. I lost about 100 pounds.
Amazing. What I'm reacting to is more that you felt unaccepted.
Well, it gets even more fun. Part of it is because I don't have fantastic social skills so I'm an introvert, don't understand the world of things and stuff. I invited you guys in today because that's cool. And as this particular introvert,
Are we cool?
I wasn't very good at reaching out to people. So being someone with poor social skills and introverted and overweight, you're a massive target, literally. But when I lost weight, you get looked at more on the street by men and women equally. People make eye contact with you longer. If you ask a question of somebody, a stranger, you get a more complete answer. People smile at you more. It is night and day. It's not an exaggeration. It's not a joke. It's real. And it sucks. I was talking at one point about how persona is it's important to have a persona that works, that functions in the world, so you can, wear the suit, do the thing. And that's what I was developing, I suppose. One of the things that really impresses me, and I think with men, it doesn't take as much for us to get to the point of being socially acceptable. I think women have it harder. It's one of the reasons I've said kind of jokingly that men pay for the date because y'all put so much effort into what you wear, your makeup, everything, your hair. It's just extraordinary how much work. I don't think men realize how much work women put into the way they look.
Amen.
And I know you enjoy it, but what is amazing to watch is the amount of power that a woman can have. And it's not just the way she looks, it's the way she's moving, it's the way she's talking, it's a lot of stuff. But it is still really, really extraordinary to watch a woman who's all decked out and in her power walk into a room and watch the energy of the room just go upside down because this person's walked in. It's incredible to me. In my opinion, there's really nothing more powerful than a well put together woman. In my experience, nothing. I don't think anything comes close to it on this world.
When you say well put together, do you mean like according to standards set by society?
That's a complicated
culture,
question.
Or more like...
I think probably that. It's not just, I'm wearing the layest fashion trend and, I have a perfect body. It's also the way, the confidence. There's a certain... there's something about a woman that is in her power in that way that we've been talking about that floors me. And I'm wondering if you feel it. Think about when you're out and there's some guy who's busting a table and he's 5'2". He's just sort of lowbrow and no one's paying attention to him. There's a lot of invisible people in the world. Just folks who are not, they're just kind of in the background, right? I was one of those people. I kind of still am in a lot of ways. And I don't mean to say, oh, you're so privileged. I'm not saying that. I'm saying, do you feel the difference in the power? For instance, when you don't dress up as much or you have a friend who maybe isn't quite on the level or you're in a room? Like, do you feel all that stuff? Do you feel...
Did you just point at me?
No.
So rude, Ben.
Sorry, I'm a rude person.
Jasmine comes into her power all the time. So
yes.
And Ben thinks that. So he was not pointing at her.
I think that, Ben, that goes back to putting something on can really have a really huge impact on your mood. And so when you go out into the world wearing this thing that like makes you feel a certain way and feel good, that is obviously affecting the energy and the impact it has in the space.
I think for me specifically, when I feel most powerful is when I like what I'm wearing. I think I mentioned this for my birthday. Jasmine was there. I had a couple friends. My mom was in town. So.
And what were you wearing?
I was wearing a vintage Chanel red and white striped button-up shirt with a vintage Celine kind of jumper over it, a dress. It took me a little while to pick out that outfit, and I was late to my birthday dinner. And I explained to my wonderful friends who were patiently waiting for me that finding the right outfit and feeling really good going somewhere can change how I experience that activity. I think that's one on my naughty list. If I were to say, like, with my therapist, the things that I don't think are good about me, like one of those things is being very neurotic about what I wear. And thus it impacts other people.
Right.
I'm late.
Yeah.
Like, if I don't like what I'm wearing, I'm going to be late, and that impacts someone else. And I don't like that. I love people, and I don't, want my neuroses to impact their experience.
Okay.
But I think I've gotten off on a tangent. To answer your question, when I feel my most powerful is when it's a combination of liking what I've put together and put on my body and how I look from head to toe. It's not only like what I like, but is what I've said about like is accepted. So it's on trend, accepted in the fashion community, and then also I feel really good in it because there are trends that I don't feel good in. So it's not just me aligning with the trend and just copying a trend.
But what does power feel like? Like, how do you know that you're walking into, do you see the little signs of the attention that you get, maybe say from men, or what do you do with that? I know from my own experience, it's really not gender specific. Like you'd think it would be, but men just are men, but it's like, it seems to be everybody that responds equally to this type of thing. Like, what do you see happening? Do you get like service faster at a restaurant? Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm
kind of oblivious, so I don't know if
okay, just
I'll be able to see. I also just work on my own self-love, so I don't always think that I'm getting...
I'm just curious.
But no, I know it's great. It's hard for me to answer just because it's...
Well, I think
we don't realize we're getting special treatment.
Yeah.
Okay, so do you ever see that you get special treatment?
I think I noticed that I get special treatment when people point out that I get special treatment.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
They're like, oh, but you're pretty, so that's why you get that. And I was like, oh,
well,
I didn't.
It's a mixture of things. It's like being pretty. It's women are treated differently than men. You're also nice. You make eye contact. You treat people decently. So there's that too. So it's not just you're just pretty.
Another zinger from Ben. He points at me. He tells me I'm not pretty.
No. It's not just that you're pretty.
Like, well, anyway, like one of the jokes I like to tell is that the single most powerful thing in the universe is a young, single, attractive woman in San Francisco. Well, they could harness that. They could power the Earth for a millennia. Maybe I'll cut that joke. So,
but we want to be praised not just because we come into a space looking good and feeling a certain way because of what we are wearing, but we want to impact the room because we walk in and they're like, oh man, these women are clearly business owners.
Entrepreneurs.
That woman looks like she owns her own business.
Danielle, she's going to take over the world.
And she's killing it.
Feel it. I can, like, the first time I met Danielle, I was so floored by her. Like, this person is funny and got an IQ of 1 trillion. Like, what's going on here? Like, Jasmine, where'd you get this human?
I know.
Isn't it scary?
She's a special
She's
person.
intimidating, isn't she?
Really?
Yeah, you don't know, do you?
Shoot.
Can I pause on that for a second? Do you not know that about yourself?
No.
I don't mean to blow smoke on you.
No.
Okay, so Danielle.
He's not actually smoking.
You're not actually smoking.
I'm not actually smoking. So Danielle, I mean, you're a really high octane human being. Your presence when you come into a room, I feel it immediately. You kind of come in and you have these sort of energetic tentacles that kind of go out and grab everyone in the room and kind of like, and
Tentacles.
kind of, it's like not tentacles, but like,
Yeah, no,
like feathers almost. And you're just like,
Feathers,
oh,
yes,
Danielle's
I like
here.
feathers.
And you engage everybody. And what I like about you is you treat everybody the same.
Okay.
You treat everybody the same. You are polite and kind and witty to all the people. And it's
Thank you.
wonderful.
Thank
And
you.
and you're funny as fuck, especially after a few drinks, which anyway, I'm partially saying that because my next question is, do the two of you ever feel missed? Like people are only looking at you because that you're a young woman or because you're dressed in a certain way. Do you ever feel like people don't see the real you? Like the first time I met you, I was kind of intimidated by you because you had all these cool clothes and I fucked up your purse and I was like, oh God. And I I was just like feeling, oh fuck, this person probably thinks I'm a fucking idiot. Like, look at all the metal she has on and all
the
matched.
metal.
You had all this metal stuff on. It was like the purse matched your buckles on your shoes and it was like brass and cubic zirconia everywhere. And I was in a,
Those are real diamonds for the record.
and it was
Not always.
it was a really intense, and I was just like,
Mixing high and low.
I was like, oh, it's one of these women and I don't know what to do right now. And it took me a few times of hanging out with you to like see this sort of, I'm not saying I thought you were shallow, it was just to see through that veneer of power, really. Anyway, and today you're being vulnerable, talking about acceptance and how, all this stuff, and which I really appreciate. So do you feel seen by people?
No, because I don't feel seen by myself yet.
Oh.
I've been working really hard on accepting myself, the things that I don't like about myself, and sort of loving myself for those things. I think most people that meet me have a different idea of what you're saying, like who I am when they first meet me versus when they get to know me. And then they see me be vulnerable and maybe I share that my feelings were hurt by something, or I feel sad, or I don't blame anyone for not seeing me because I don't feel comfortable sharing all the time, like who I truly am. And I do think that I'm still discovering that.
What have you discovered about yourself? Who is Danielle?
She's complex, really wants to be accepted and seen, but doesn't always communicate that in a way that's tactful or, successful in getting that message across. She is someone who gets very excited about things. I'm very insecure. Working on that. I have a lot of ideas. I want to get to know people. I want to understand their feelings.
Would you say you have a thirsty mind for new ideas and new things?
Yeah.
Also, I feel like there's a paradox here because you want to be accepted and you wear all this stuff that also keeps people at arm's length.
Right.
I don't know.
I think
it might just be my own shit.
No.
Ollie,
I think I am trying to understand trust. I like to blindly trust people, but I feel like sometimes I've become
this dog. Keep going.
I think I've become a doormat sometimes, or I give with maybe hoping for something similar in like,
oh, I see.
Treat others how you want to be treated type of thing.
So you give a lot and you don't always get back. And so that scares you a little bit. That
scares me.
Because you're a very loving person and you have a lot of warmth
yeah.
for the world.
Yes.
That's what it is.
And it hurt. And it scares me because then I start to question myself. Oh, am I doing this for myself? Or am I doing it for others? And then I don't get it. And then I get angry.
Jasmine, this is what it is about her. She's a giver. You're a giver.
She's one of the...
Oh, gosh.
She's one of the...
My birthday?
Best. She really good at being a friend, and totally when I first met her I was like, oh my god, she's like this beautiful fairy princess, and you just you want to be her, but you also just want to touch her and see if she's real. But then
she's real. Let's touch her. Touch her.
But then we spend
touch Danielle right now.
But then we spend 5 hours.
You have permission.
Then we spend 5 hours eating every single thing on the menu and laughing hysterically to the point of crying. And
so here's the question. So Jasmine,
thank you, by the way.
And
that's so nice.
And she calls you when you're sad and makes sure that you're okay.
So do you feel seen now?
Yeah, I feel very seen right now.
How does it feel to feel seen?
It feels really good.
She doesn't believe me.
Yeah, maybe
I believe it. But then I'm like, okay, I have to make sure. Then I just want to make sure that that's true. I want to make sure that no.
We're keeping the dog away from the cheese. For those of you wondering why her...
I want to make sure that I'm genuine and reflect and be like, okay, when I did this action, when I call Jasmin to see how she's feeling, like, am I open to receiving what it is that she's feeling? You know, is it just a gesture, or am I really, truly, deeply? I mean, I'm certain that it's true and deep.
And like with clothes, you can kind of monitor that and say, well, it's this much. I'm getting this much, and this is real.
Yeah, I mean, it's tangible.
So Jasmin, who are you beneath your pretty little veneer?
She's very cute, but way more than just cute.
Way more than cute.
But I don't know how to answer that question, Ben. Can I have a more specific question?
What kind of person are you?
What kind of person am I?
Yeah, like, do you ever want to feel seen by people? Do you ever want people to see who the real Jasmin is underneath all that?
Yeah, but I feel like I'm less worried about coming across as like weird or strange or different. Like I'm okay with that. I feel like I go and I embrace that, and I try to pull people in to like join me in that.
What's weird about you?
For instance, like I make really dry jokes and then I stare at people.
That's right, you do that. Like,
and then I see if they know if I'm joking or not.
And it takes a minute. I'm like, what's going on? Am I about to get stabbed?
You still might.
Because actually, when I first...
Next time on Look, just tell me what to do. The mystery of Ben. Where did he go?
I remember Andy would actually coach me on how to deal with you, because I was like, does she not like me? He's like, no, man, that's her sense of humor. Like you will say something really flat and kind of dry and kind of a little mean, and then you just sort of walk out the room like it was nothing. Like, whoa.
Yeah, I had to learn that too, because I'm a sensitive Sally.
Yeah, I know. And I do feel bad about it.
No,
sometimes.
don't.
Like,
Because
your intentions are good.
It's totally not meant to be malicious at all.
No, their
just not
intentions are
expected.
good.
Like, you're this well-dressed, pretty little white girl, and it's like, what is this? Who is this monster? Like, what's
and
going
why is
on?
she attacking me?
It's just like, stop
With her
it!
words.
Get your teeth out of me, you weird little small pit bull, blonde, cute thing.
Yeah, it brings me joy.
Oh, good. Wow.
It sparks joy.
It sparks joy. That's the Marie Kondo statement, right? Does it spark joy? If it doesn't spark joy, get rid of it.
That's why she's
in
not
a
getting rid of it.
sustainable way.
Exactly.
Sustainable way.
Hey, I just want to say,
Yeah.
you guys said some really nice things about me, and that was awesome. I really appreciate that. I'm gonna say nice things about you.
So we've been talking about clothes and all these things, and we've been sort of peeling away the onion.
Yeah.
And it was very clear that you needed it.
Yeah.
If that's what you need, then you should have it.
Interesting.
Because I appreciate you.
So then would that mean like someone who needs it should receive it, someone who doesn't need it doesn't receive it?
Someone who doesn't need it won't pull for it, but you pull for it in a really complicated way.
Oh shit. Does that mean I'm like
No,
fishing for compliments?
Not at all. It just means that you're a complex, interesting human being who's trying to get her needs met just like everybody else.
Fair.
That's all it means.
We're all just trying to get our needs met.
We're all trying to get love in different ways. And
Totally.
one of the ways that Jasmin gets love is that she stabs people in the heart and rips it out of their chest and eats it.
What?
Or do I?
For the record, I've never experienced that.
Not yet. You notice how she's been feeding you all that cornmeal lately? She's getting you ready like a you know how
Cornmeal.
you know like our escargot. Like
I made her braised short ribs.
She makes me like gourmet meals. She's an incredible
fattening
cook.
her up for the
Incredible
slaughter.
cook.
Yeah, she really is a good cook.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of things and objects, I'll divert a little bit from the whole clothing bit. I remember Andy was having a birthday and you were really late. I have a picture of you walking down the street with fucking balloons and cakes and flowers, and you're pulling like some fucking whole thing full of beer. And
It was a wagon.
It was a wagon.
A wagon of beer.
You're like the party girl, aren't you, Jasmin?
She's a great planner.
I like to bring people together to enjoy all the things.
What do you suppose that's about? I mean, I know that's not an unnatural thing. It's like, it's perfectly normal for someone to want those things, but you're pretty aggressive about, hey, we're having this party, we're doing this thing. And you get all the objects, you go out and you buy cheese. And we were talking earlier about how Jasmin's a very professional. She's like a Cheez-It person. She's
A Cheez-It?
Cheez-It, a cheese person.
One time Ben said that he would hire me when he's really rich to travel the world and collect cheese for him and bring it back. And I said that was my dream job.
Yeah. What is it, like a fromagier?
You're like a cheesemonger. It's like you're an executive assistant cheesemonger. So
I don't like that word.
I know, monger.
Monger, yeah, like
sounds
fishmonger,
like I'm gonna
cheesemonger.
murder somebody.
It's like a seller of those things. Anyway, but you'd be a buyer. But so, and you get all the stuff together. Like you bring out the charcuterie and you have the thing and you set the table just right. And I feel like you transform the whole space. I know you're an interior designer and you transform your and Andy's entire place. And all of a sudden I walk out and it's like, what happened? So what is it with you and parties and shit?
I don't even feel like I'm like a very good party planner. Like I feel like nobody comes to my parties, but I don't know. I just really love food.
No, it's more than that. It's the environment too. It
sounds like your two main senses are sight and taste.
I don't know. I mean, I get excited at the grocery store and then I'm not even really like setting the table for you. Really,
it's not
I'm
for
really
you.
setting it for me, but why?
It's not about eating the cheese though, is it?
No, I want to eat the cheese, but then I've like overextended myself to the point that I'm like in the kitchen eating while I'm cooking because I got overly excited at the grocery store. I got overly excited on Pinterest, like picking out recipes. And then I got everybody there. And then I realized that I like overextended myself in what I can feasibly do. And then I missed the cheese plate. And then I'm drinking the wine. And then they're like, Jasmin, why are you like a little lush? And I'm like,
Were you like a party planner growing up?
No.
When did this start?
And frankly, it was like no one would come to my birthday because everybody was out of town because my birthday is like in between.
Do you think maybe that's why you do it up so much? Because you missed out on all that? No one came to your birthdays.
Well, I mean, they weren't there. It wasn't their fault.
But it doesn't matter. That's not nice.
When is your birthday, Jasmin?
Yeah, when is your birthday?
It's December 30th.
Yeah. Yeah, that's tough.
Capra crazy.
So next year we have to do a really huge birthday party for her to.
Well, we have been doing fun activities for my birthdays.
Right.
But we could do a party.
Party. Yeah.
This year we were trying to maybe do a party, but the weather was insane and I got stuck in Idaho.
But I did exactly what I wanted to do on my birthday. I had Ollie and I drank wine and I ate cheese and we went and got some Spanish tapas, which was again more cheese.
So guys, I just have one question before we go. You know how much I love things, and more than my love of things is my love of clothing, which holds a special place in my heart. So I want to ask you a quick question about shopping. So I go to Banana Republic. Is that okay? No, she doesn't like Banana Republic.
Fine. I think that
she doesn't like it. Oh, that was a smile. That was like, no. It's on her list. That's on her naughty list.
I think that
thou shalt
Gap
not
has
purchase.
Good,
all right,
jeans.
listen. Next time.
I think the Gap has good jeans.
Listen, next time, can we do a thing like, if you want, maybe one of you could take me shopping and we'll record it and you will tell me like what to buy and
I think we want to go together.
Yeah, the three of us.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. That would be funny. Next time on Look, Just Tell Me What to Do.
Look, just tell me what to buy.
There you go. Why don't you start a podcast called that?
I don't have time right now.
Yes, you do. Look, just tell me what to buy. That's brilliant. God, you're fucking smart. All right.
You came up with the name. I just switched the word.
But that's a really better. It's better. Look, just tell me what to buy. I'm going to change. That's what I'm going to name this episode. Look, just tell me what to buy.
I love it.
It's really smart. Listen, I got to go. So anyway, Jasmin Morgan, thank you so much. You are a fabulous human being. And
she is fabulous.
Also, please make me sound really smart.
I'm a master editor.
Yeah.
And
because my mom will be sad if I don't sound intelligent.
You could literally put words in your mouth.
Not quite.
Well, if you're the editor that you are, you are.
If you need me to send any voice recordings of me saying any specific words, let me know.
We can do that. You know where I live. And Danielle, what's your last name?
Dixon.
Danielle Dixon, that's right. Danielle Dixon, DD.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that you guys want to add, like a plug for your website? Anything like that, your business? Do you want to like spell it out, or do you want me to just such and such www blah blah blah? Do you want to do that?
www. RHOME vintage, spelled like vintage.com.
That's hilarious. Okay, so that's your business. Thank you so much for coming in. It was a real privilege.
Thank you so much for having us.
All right, guys.
Fun.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening. Should you have any questions or wish to be guests on my show, please email me at benjaminrussack@gmail.com. All relevant information regarding our two amazing guests will be available in the program notes. Thanks again, and tune in next time. Okay. All right. I wonder if I can export this. All right.
Is your computer an Apple computer?
Yeah. All right. To Walgreens. You know where it is.
To Walgreens because I was an idiot.
It's on what? Turkin?
No.
Turkin?
Divisadero. So just take a left.
Division what? You know it's on
like O'Farrell.
Okay.
So just take a left and then take a right.
You gonna put it in here?
No, I'm gonna hold it in my hand because I'm such a fucking neurotic piece. I'm such a Jew.
Okay.
Batteries. I'm gonna get so many batteries. Is it? There should be like a name for that, word for that when phones go to airplane mode just for no reason.
Yeah. So we're going to talk about what we're doing right now?
Oh, yeah. We're going to Walgreens to get batteries. And this is a voice memo, so this recording is going to sound terrible. But I think I'm going to use it in some kind of weird way.
Yeah.
Whose idea was it?
To record the thing? It was Jasmine's idea.
No.
It was your idea. It was Danielle's idea.
It was Danielle's idea.
Danielle's.
Thanks so much. I'm an only child. I love words of affirmation. Thank you very much.
You know, it's sort of just like a fun little field trip. It's like real life.
It is.
Yeah,
it is.
This is what's happening.
Are you up to breaking the law and taking a left-hand turn?
I think I can try.
Okay.
Andy, tell Andy because he'll be like really proud.
Yeah.
I like broke the law.
Yeah.
He like really loves it when I do that.
I like it too.
Yeah. Like there's this exit off of the freeway at DuBose, and there's 2 lanes, and the left lane goes on to Division. And
right. I'll be right out. Just pull over.
And Andy always tells me to go on the other lane and then like scoot over at the very last second when the light turns green.
Okay.
And I'm always like terrified to do it, but like, you know, I did it once.
Okay, this is the sketchiest parking lot.
Yeah, I know. I'm not going to wait in here. I'm just going to turn around.
Okay.
Yeah.
Terrible things happen in this parking lot.
Yeah.
Yes, I've seen them.
Okay, bye.
AA batteries?
Sure, AA. I have AA on sale right now. Those are not really a good deal because I have to buy 2.
Let me just get the dirt.
This one is only $20 and 16 of them.
Okay.
AA or triple?
Double.
Go ahead and put in your number. Pull the card out first. Let me update your info so you can use your point. What is the last?
I don't need to do all that. I need to go.
It won't be long.
I gotta go.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I'm so sorry then.
Right.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
You're talking about it.
Fucking Christ.
I'll give away his.
Friendly checkers. Let's talk about that. Like overly friendly checkers. You just want to help every little fucking thing and make everything slow and make you want to kill them.
But on a positive note, Walgreens is doing it just for your happiness and enjoyment, not because they're trying to get it to
Straight.
you know?
What?
Well, you know, like if you're like at a coffee shop, like if the barista's like being nice to you, or like the woman at the cashier register is being nice to you, you're like, oh, I gotta like give her a tip, and like, oh man, the only option is like a 20% tip, and I only pay 20% tip on my coffee. But like if it's somebody at Walgreens, then there's like no tipping. So like they're just doing it out of the kindness of their heart, like being super nice. You know?
No, they're sucking my life's blood from me because they want to interact because
You're such an introvert.
But like that's like a really hard.
Yes.
That's like a really hard. Like to have to like sit there all day and like talk to people and then like have everyone just be an asshole.
I know,
like
but I get that and I empathize and sympathize a little bit.
It'd be such a long day.
It would be a long day.
If everybody that came in was you,
yeah,
it would just be.
They're required to be nice. Like
really long.
They're probably told by their managers.
No, they are. I mean, Trader Joe's is the worst. You know, like they're like professional.
They're the nicest.
They're the nicest ones, and they're usually really intelligent, which makes me feel bad because they're like really quality people. It's just sad. The whole thing is sad, you know?
I just love it when they open up bags and they're like, "You want to try this?" And I'm like, "Yeah."
Open up bags?
Yeah, like if you've never tried anything at Trader Joe's before, you can just open it up while you're there and sample it. And they really like advocate for that.
Really?
Like I've had somebody come and I was like, "Oh, have you ever tried this before? Like it's new, like it looks good." And they're like, "Oh, well here, let's just open it up." And then I was like, "Okay." And then I was like, "Oh, I can like take that one since you already opened it for me." And they're like, "No, grab a new one. Like we'll just put this in the back and all the employees will eat it." I was like,
oh, okay.
They'll do it for beer too.
They'll let you drink a beer? You're kidding me.
No.
I think you're lying. Danielle,
What?
is this true what she's saying?
I don't know. I don't
I'm going to ask Andy. You don't grocery shop?
No.
What do you, wait a minute, what? What do you mean you don't grocery shop? Do you just eat out every night because you're so fucking special? What's going on?
Whoa. No, I don't feel special. I actually wish I
So,
grocery shop.
well, how do you get food then?
I order DoorDash.
That's awesome.
I usually have leftovers, and so then I just like rotate. And
You also use that great, like thistle.
I used to, but then I wasn't happy, and I wasn't.
Yeah. Yes, you are. I promise. So that only took 9 minutes. That was pretty impressive.
Hope you got the right size batteries.
Fuck you. How about that?
What if the batteries got repulsed and they just like came from the factory?
Then we're doing a really long voice memo. Fuck.
There's your cheese.
Why isn't this working?
Is that a donkey cheese?
Jesus, I think this might be broken. Why isn't this working?
Don't even worry about it. We're fine.
Please work. Please function. Please work. Please work.
You have your cheese. This is your cheese.
Please work.
It's Himalayan cheese.
Oh, thank God. Oh, thank God. Jesus Christ. You're seeing a Jew at his worst.
Oh, I love Jews.
Do you?
Yep.
What do you love?
I was Jewish.
Especially Ashkenazi.
Ashkenazi.
That would be me.
They're the most beautiful people.
And they're the smartest ones.
Mm-hmm. Most beautiful. They are the chosen ones.
Supposedly the best lovers, but I don't know if that's true or not.
I wouldn't know.
You wouldn't know?
I mean,
Ooh, spicy.
I know it's spicy.
I have other crackers too. Hold on. If you want to really go crazy, you can put goat cheese on the dates.
Oh.
And
Oh yeah.
there's of course chocolate, which you should have.
Look at this spread.
All right.
I just bought one of those too, but I don't have any more of it left.